With the company struggling with injuries, disorganization and political battles that led to 4 creative regimes changing in the past year, there perhaps has never been a week that signaled the alarming decline of WCW than the week leading up to Nitro on March 6, 2000, as with the first estimates of the Super Brawl pay-per-view buys coming in at one of the lowest figures in company history for the pay-per-view return matches of both Hogan and Flair, which at last year's Super Brawl against each other drew one of the biggest pay-per-views in WCW history with around 500,000 buys. Perhaps an even bigger year-on-year decline could be seen leading up to Monday night in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, as while the days of Nitro automatically selling out any building on a weekly basis are gone for the foreseeable future, the ticket sales decline in this Monday's market was too drastic to ignore, with the company drawing a paid attendance of a little over 2,000 people for the Dean Dome in Chapel Hill after just 1 year ago on Monday, March 1, 1999. Nitro in the same venue sold out the building pretty much the minute tickets were put on sale, with over 18,000 people, causing major reasons for concern, with every aspect of business continuing to trend downwards. With Vince Russo still sitting at home with 18 months left on his contract, the revolving door that is WCW's creative team since Russo was demoted by Bill Bush in early January was changing again in the past week, with Terry Taylor and Nash reportedly both leaving the committee to leave Sullivan assisted by Ferrara as the main contributors on Nitro and Thunder, as besides the free fall of pay-per-views and ticket sales, Thunder on March 1 drew its lowest rating in history with a 2 rating. Peaking with a 2.2 rating for a Luger vs. Vampiro match with no major bumps and drops to signal that the show was down to its core audience. Nitro had Ric Flair vs. Kurt Hennig, a rematch from last week, placed to start near the crossover segment at the top of the hour, coming out at 8:55 p.m. going 8 minutes to open the head-to-head hour with a 2.5 rating, an increase over last week's near-record low number, ending up with Hennig going over and Luger breaking his arm in an injury angle post-match in the build to his uncensored match against Sting. With the WrestleMania main event still booked as Triple H vs. Big Show 4 weeks from the event, Shane McMahon and Big Show opened draw coming after Show and Hunter turned on each other during a tag match on SmackDown, with Shane giving the promo explanation for coming back to turn on Rock, saying that it was just business as he had to squash Rock before he started to dominate the WWF like Vince should have done to Austin 2 years ago, saying that with Hunter it's personal and booking him in a match against Rikishi for tonight to bring him out, with Hunter hyping the Mania match against Show and Stephanie responding to Shane booking the Rikishi-Hunter match to put Show against Kane coming up next, opening Raw with a 5.7 rating. With Bill Goldberg's return originally set for the unopposed Nitro on February 14 before the longer-than-expected recovery from his arm surgery delayed it, the new date planned under the current regime is April around the Spring Stampede pay-per-view, with the initial rumor of Tank Abbott being built up as his return opponent seems to be off, with him tapping out clean to Seed in the Nitro main event last week. The new suggestion is Goldberg vs. Jarrett in April, with Goldberg going over to build up a match against Seed and eventually the rematch that never was against Hogan during the summer. Nitro's second quarter saw a Norman Smiley vs. Lenny match and Tank Abbott taking the show hostage to bring out Meng, while Raw had the Big Show vs. Kane match going 4 minutes before Rock ran into Rock Bottom, Show to a massive reaction with the idea that he has nothing to lose now after being taken out of the Mania main event, opening a 5.8 to 2.3 rating margin. Both shows picked up combined over 700,000 viewers between 9:30 to 45, with Nitro having a Hogan promo hyping the strap match against Flair at Uncensored along with a Booker and Kidman vs Harlem Heat tag match, while Raw entered the 6 rating range for the first time on the night, having a major injury angle with Bubba powerbombing Mae Young through a table and a Too Cool vs DX tag match. A week after Vince McMahon ordered all promotion for the Beyond the Mat movie to be pulled from the 4 hours of the Raw and SmackDown broadcasts on Monday and Thursday, the WWF took it one step further in the next few days, with both USA Network and UPN agreeing not to air any commercial for the film on any timeslot on both channels, with Vince McMahon aggressively going after it to minimize any exposure for the film after reportedly several attempts to buy or edit the final product, with producer Barry Blaustein claiming that when they didn't agree to sell the movie, Vince started seeing it as competition, with the updated advertising for the film trying to capitalize on the buzz created from the Vince dispute, promoting it as the movie McMahon didn't want you to see, with several commercials airing on WCW and ECW programs on TNT and TNN, including 2 ads tonight during Nitro, with each towards the end of the first and second hours. Nitro's final quarter saw a Dustin Rhodes-Terry Funk confrontation to set up a hardcore match between them for the pay-per-view, along with the entrances of the Seed and Vampiro vs Jarrett and Wall main event, while Raw closed out the first hour having Kurt Angle vs Chris Jericho for the IC title in the No Way Out rematch, going 4 minutes before a surprising finish with Bob Backlund making his TV return alongside Angle, with the idea that both had similar characteristics in their careers. Nitro's tag main event went 4 minutes and the overrun, with the Seed and Vampiro vs Jarrett and Wall match picking up over 400,000 viewers to a head-to-head high 2.8 rating, ending with Jarrett pinning Seed for the 3rd time in the build to their pay-per-view title match, with Nitro overall doing a 2.7 rating on the back of the opposed hour, drawing its highest rating in over a month with a 2.5. But perhaps the bigger story took place seconds after the show went off the air, as Raw opened its second hour with a promoted Triple H vs Rikishi match, and after the last few weeks of barely seeing any difference between the hours, with almost no crossover between the two audiences, Raw with Rikishi vs Hunter along with Rock running in for the finish saw Raw jump huge, with over 1.5 million viewers from a 5.9 to a 7.2 rating, gaining approximately 50% of the Nitro viewership watching the finish, in a strong sign for Rikishi, who has been getting over big with the live crowds and passed the test in recent weeks in translating it to numbers. After the major viewership bump at the top of the hour, Raw remained strong for the entire 10 to 11 p.m. hour, not falling below a 6.7 rating for any segment, with the overall hour drawing a 6.9 rating and over 8.1 million viewers, Raw's 3rd strongest figures since the format change on January 3rd. With Rock pulling away as the biggest star in the industry since the summer of 1999, along with the WWF building the advertising of the company's return to network television on his name, along with the entire new line of media from video games to music, Rock's momentum was growing by the week in and out of the business, as after his book went to #1 on the top sellers charts in record time, with him drawing full arena crowds to the book signings. The first commercial started to air in the past week on Rock hosting SNL on March 18, becoming the first wrestler in history to do it in a major crossover appearance, in addition to signing for his first movie role in The Mummy, which will be filmed in May, with Rock scheduled to be all over the media in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, including him being listed on Forbes magazine's Top Power Celebrities list. talking about his in-ring style in the past week, saying that he doesn't have to jump off cages or take hardcore bumps to get a reaction from the crowd, as he values timing, believability, athleticism and charisma, saying that Dwayne is different from Rock in some ways, but overall Rock is a magnified version of Dwayne with the volume turned up to the max. Rock and Benoit in their second singles match against each other after the first one did strong numbers at over 12 a.m. on the preempted Raw on February 14th, went 11 minutes in the cage, with Rock and Benoit continuing to show instant chemistry, putting on another strong performance, jumping over 800,000 viewers to peak the night with a 7.3 rating and over 8.6 million viewers, ending up with Rock going over after escaping the cage and getting the upper hand again on Hunter Show and Shane 27 days from WrestleMania 16.